All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the April 28th regular board meeting for the Wenatchee School District. We'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Esta junta se lleva a cabo en inglés, pero contamos con servicio de traducción. Si alguien gusta hacer un comentario público o recibir explicaciones en español, por favor indique su necesidad. All right, we're going to now work through the agenda. Board, are there any proposed changes or modifications? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda were sent to the board and posted online last week. The board has had the opportunity to review the materials and ask the superintendent any questions they have about any items on the consent agenda. The consent agenda for this meeting includes the minutes for the April 14th regular meeting, the April 20th board workshop, vouchers and payroll, personnel report, contracts, field trips, policies retired, WIA resolution, summer athletic programs, February financial report, and April enrollment report. A lot. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All right, has been moved by Julie and it has been seconded by Maria. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the consent agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, bright spot. Superintendent Kalahar, you're up.
Sounds great. We have a Bright Spots moment, and it's the second board meeting of the month. And so we have our ASB representatives here with us today. And Maddie's here from Westside. We'll start off with Maddie, and then we'll move on to Wenatchee High School. Awesome. Thanks for being here.
The Leadership Club here at Westside High School, and I'm here to tell you what's been happening in the past month and what's coming up. Our second annual Sheena Town was a huge success. A huge thanks to the community members and business owners who participated, and of course, thanks to Sheena and Mr. Stansberry for planning the amazing event. Today was our final day of state testing, and our annual spaghetti feed will be held on Thursday, May 7th at 5:30 in our cafeteria. It'll feature a silent auction, a live art auction, and a delicious dinner, and all proceeds will be benefited towards Deleza Zavala, an 8-year-old third grader here in our district who was diagnosed with leukemia this past summer. We would love to have you all attend our event, and we are still accepting donations of cash, gift cards, or an auction item. Prom will be May 15th, and the theme is the Starry Night. Prom is always free for Westside students and includes dinner and dessert. May 21st will be our open house carnival for all returning families and for any new families that will be attending Westside next year. May 28th will be our annual art show. This is a drop-in event where students' art will be showcased. Speaking of art, 3 Westside students won awards on Sunday for their art submissions for Apple Blossom Art for Kids. In the 2D art division, second place went to Abby Flores and first place went to Valia Mool. Jana Berry received the Sponsor's Choice Award for her oil pastels. Congrats to all of them. And Westside graduation will be held on Tuesday, June 9th at the Town Toyota Center. This brings us to the end of our update. Do you have any questions for me?
Maddie, what does it cost for adults to come into the spaghetti feed? Is it still $15 or
$15?
$15? Okay. And a week from Thursday. Okay. Sounds great. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, Louisiana and Anais, thanks for joining us today. Wenatchee High School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisana Esquivel, and this past year, I've had the great privilege of serving as Wenatchee High School's ASB president. Throughout this year, our team focused on creating and strengthening an inclusive and kind environment for all students. We worked to both introduce new events and continue traditions that make our school special. These events were designed to bring together our diverse student body and create opportunities for students to connect. As leaders, our goal was to ensure that every student felt like they belonged. that they were seen, valued, and a part of something bigger than themselves. That sense of community has always been at the heart of what we do. During my term, I've learned many important skills that I will carry with me moving forward. I've learned the importance of responsibility, communication, and leadership. But just as importantly, I've learned how to step back and allow others to take initiative, grow, and share their ideas. Leadership is not just about guiding others, it's about empowering them. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity and for everyone who has supported me along the way. Now, I would like to pass this role on to our newly elected ASB president, Anais, who will finish this report.
My name is Anais, and I'm just gonna give a little update. So this month ASB has had 4 team leader meetings and 3 Senate meetings, with the last one being tomorrow of this month. And then ASB has hosted our first Pantherpalooza, and it was very successful with a great turnout and participation from a diverse group of students, which was amazing to see. We also had a spring assembly, which took place outside in the parking lot, which we've never done before, and had music and activities that students could enjoy. And we had a great student attendance, and we will definitely have more next year. And then we had another big event, which was our prom, that was well attended and provided a positive experience for students and lots of music and dancing. And then our FFA plant sale will be open to the public tomorrow. Mariachi program placed second at the state competition, and 6 journalism students with the Apple Leaf attended the National Journalism Education Convention in Minneapolis, and 4 was recognized for their hard work during the competition. And that's it for our update. Do you have any questions or comments?
How did it work having assembly in the parking lot?
So it was definitely new. We had all grades go out. So even if sophomores or freshmen couldn't go out, they could go out for that day. And we had a really good turnout. We had a lot of dancing, and not like we had stuff that usually wouldn't be at like pep assemblies or the assemblies in the auditorium. So it was really different for the students, but I think it was really fun for them, and they got to enjoy a lot of new things and music and stuff like that.
It was cool. I just happened to be there at that day and that time, and it was really exciting. Toward the end, you were giving out gift cards. Is that
Yes.
right? Oh my gosh, people were literally freaking out, and it was super cool. But that was fun. I was there to meet Principal Moser and have a meeting, and we decided to just enjoy the assembly outside. It was great, and we met a little bit later. So nice work. I just want to comment that was a wonderful transition, and we congratulate you on a great year, and we're excited to continue to hear from you and learn from your leadership. So thank you both.
All right, citizen comment. Kim, we have anyone? All right, moving on to special presentations.
Special presentations. We have 3 special presentations tonight, and our first one is fire prevention program. So we have former firefighter and local hero Mike Hughes with us today. We also have Brian Campbell. Brian, are you part of the presentation? You're here for moral support. Okay. So Mike, you can make your way up to the podium right here, and we're excited to have you. Thanks for sharing some time with us this evening. Oh.
For a 30-minute presentation, 20 minutes of information and 10 minutes for questions. And then maybe try and pick up all the schools, maybe 3rd grade. I think the kids are 9 or 10 years old, I believe. Is that about right for 3rd grade? So we kind of want them to be old enough where everything we showed them, they would remember it pretty well, though. And it's kind of an age that, it's kind of a delicate age or whatever. They're still capable of getting hurt in a fire or whatever, is what we don't want. But I've got a statistic for you here. It's, from 2019 to 2023 in the U.S., the average fire deaths were 2,600. It's hideous. And then as far as the age group 15 and under, 13% of the fatalities, 13% of 2,600 is approximately 330. Can you imagine that? So we've been really lucky in Wenatchee. And for my 30 years working for the fire service, there were a few fire deaths around the valley or whatever, and I think there might have been one younger person or whatever, and then there were a few old ones or whatever, but we've been quite lucky. So maybe that'll continue, but the idea is to get into the classroom for 30 minutes, like I said, 20 minutes of information and 10 minutes for question, and try and get through to the kids and give them some really straightforward stuff. And you know, I think talking to 9 or 10-year-olds, it's really important to keep information like this, talking about fires, keep it on a real even keel, so to speak. And you don't want anxiety coming out of that and a lot of fear, but it needs to be kept as an educational tool, that they're learning about it. And so they can take steps with their parents or guardians or whatever to ensure their safety. So I've kind of, and you know, in my career with the fire service, I've kind of seen it all. I've been on so many fires where so many things happened that were really crazy. But you know, I think one of the biggest things that we always try to get through are smoke detectors. You know, as far as saving lives go, that's where you really start with. And in all the houses I've been in, it's amazing that you know, some of them smoke alarms. They had them, they went off, and everything went great. Got out of the house. So very many of them, they didn't have them in the first place. They had a smoke alarm in the house upstairs and downstairs, and they had one, and it was 20 years old. Battery was gone, and blah, blah, blah. So smoke alarms only have a 10-year lifespan, then they're basically worthless. And so came across an awful lot of smoke alarms that never went off. We'd pull them off the ceiling and show that they were, you know, 2 or 3 years out of date, and they wouldn't work anymore. So that's a really important thing to stress, I think. You know, and then teaching kids about you know, what happens, what alerts them if there's something goes wrong in their house, and it would be a smoke alarm going off, obviously, or a smell of smoke, or some loud pop or whatever that would indicate some sort of electrical problem. And you know, and then the wintertime, we have problems with baseboard heaters, space heaters, and for me to go and talk to students, I think that fire helmet would be one prop. Another one would be a smoke alarm. Another one would be a space heater. I happen to have a nice small cube-sized space heater with the electric one. So I'd talk about the electrical issues also with that. And so anyhow, I think that another thing to mention too are candles. You know, a lot of people like them, love them. I hate them. It's open flame. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, you know, it's like, and we had people, I had fires where we'd get there, and then, you know, the front room was burning or whatever. Well, the person got up and they lit a candle. It was still dark out in the middle of winter, and they took off and went to work. They forgot to put the candle out. Well, the dog jumped up there, and then blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, then the front room is burning, you know, it's because of a candle. So it's and electrical issues are, you know, I talked about people, it's crazy, you know, my own house, I'm always, you know, my wife's going, what are you doing? I go, I'm looking at the couch and the chairs or whatever, make sure cord and the lamp doesn't run under one of the feet of those cords don't like being compressed. They don't like being smashed. They short out, and problems occur because of that. So anyhow, a segment of talking about the cause of house fires is really pretty much a must or whatever. And then, you know, getting people out of there. Kids recognize there's a problem. If a smoke alarm goes off, well, can you imagine in the middle of the night, some kids, me too, maybe, I don't know, they're really heavy sleepers. I mean, you could drive a freight train through the backyard and they would never hear it. They sleep that soundly. And you think, you know, we've had them, they've slept through a smoke alarm since, you know, they never hear it or whatever. And here's a real interesting question. I can't get into everything right now, obviously, but you know, for you might think about it at home, you know, don't need to show hands with it, but did you sleep with the bedroom door closed or open? It's an interesting question. And you know, NFPA, which a lot of this information that I have comes right out of the National Fire Protection Association. So they've been around forever, and everything that I would talk about educating kids would be from NFPA. So it's really, the liability is really gone in that respect. But I mean, just think about it. If the door is closed, you're in there sleeping, you know, you're not going to hear a smoke alarm on the outside of the hallway very well. It's going to really be diminished. And if there was smoke out there, how long is it going to take from the ceiling to work its way down enough to try and get to the bottom and go under the gap at the bottom of the door and go in? How long did that take? You could have been out of there 2 minutes before. So I sleep with my door open a little bit. It doesn't have to be much if it's open a little bit, perfect. And a lot of fire people say, oh no, keep your door closed. Well, I don't buy it myself. It doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense. Smoke shows up It's gonna come right around there. It's gonna trip the smoke alarm in the hallway and the one in your bedroom too, right away. You have all this fresh air you can bug out. So that's real important. Anyhow, really a good things I think to get through to kids in that age group, like I said, and they'll remember it, and then hopefully it'll save them. If a problem ever happens, then we don't have to worry about them getting hurt. So, going back in searching for the dog, the cat, or whatever, or I've seen it all. And we always say when you're out, stay out, don't go back in. So anyhow, I have pretty much a program set up for 20 minutes or whatever to get the things through to the kids that would suit that age group. And once again, there's no scare tactics involved. I don't want to scare anybody kid-wise or whatever, but I want to educate them so they understand that, fires do happen. They are a problem, and here's what you can do to keep them, what you need to do to make sure nothing ever happens. So anyhow, that's kind of the idea we've been working on. And Fire Prevention Week is October 4th through the 10th. And, a lot of people would like to do a fire information, get that out there in that period of time. And our idea, I think, is to get into the classrooms. And for third graders, there's typically 2 third-grade classes per school. I don't even know. I'm just curious. Oh, there's 4. How many kids are in each one? So maybe something like this could be done in 2 different sessions in a school for 2 classes combined or whatever, 2 different days. I don't know. It'd be something to work out. And then also, as far as a kind of a peer review, it would be great that the teacher obviously I would love to have them and then critique and then say, yeah, we like this, and then say maybe we could do more of this, you know what I mean, regarding the information or whatever. It's really important to get some feedback on that. And so anyhow, maybe Douglas County would like to have something like that in the school system over there. Maybe Casimir, maybe Leavenworth, I don't know. But, if the idea is, I guess, is to try and keep anybody from getting hurt in the fire. That's the real ideal, situation. So, that's our idea, and it'd be nice to do it. And, but everything has to work out. It's not an overnight kind of a project, but the benefit, if you save one kid, if they got out of a house fire and then, and then they said, yeah, I learned this last year in school. Perfect. That's the idea. It's our public service effort, and we're really excited about having an opportunity to do it. So,
well, we're excited to hear about it, Mike. I'm one of the things that I wanted to mention. First of all, thank you for taking on this important cause. One of the things that our cabinet team talked about after your citizens comment last time is we remember clearly in elementary school when we learned about the safety planning. Where do you meet up? We know what the fire alarms are for. We know where to go. And I was on a second story, and I remember having a little ladder that hooked onto my window, and we could go out that way. And it's like there isn't really an intentional space for these topics to be talked about. So stop, drop, and roll, all the things, but we really appreciate the conversation. And Eric Anderson has already approached our elementary principals about the idea. They're in favor of it. And I think us building a plan would be fantastic. Along with your fire helmet as a prop, another great prop are high school students that are in a fire science program out at our tech center.
So they actually have that?
We do. We have a fire science program at our tech center, and high school students are the best props for third graders. Like, they're so cool. So maybe there's a way that we can do some collaboration and partnership and really build the engagement level up for something like this that we really want our students to remember, like you said. So let's be in touch and let's work over the summer and see what we can figure out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, because I think this would be a tremendous program for our schools to have, and I'm kind of surprised that we don't already teach this because it is something foundational that I remember from about that time. I can just see the importance of, especially our kids going so digital and electronic these days, learning about the safety of the charger cords and microwaves and things like that, and how they interact or what they should do if there's a fire or something, because I know my kids probably don't really. We've seen them running and screaming from the smoking microwave. But I think there's a lot of practical examples that we could give kids that would really resonate with them. And I just remember it being so important. And I do think it's a great idea. If you go down to the fire station, they teach you the firefighter good guy thing, because a lot of kids if they see a firefighter coming in to save them, they may get scared or nervous because they're all done up in suits. And so watching that process of putting the gear on and taking it off, and I think that'd be a great prop to use the fire science students along with this. So I could just have all kinds of ideas. I think this is a great idea. I could see multiple sessions to make sure there's enough room for planning and refreshing and all kinds of things, because it is critically important.
Well, I think, it's funny that, I graduated from Eastern, whatever, and then while I was over there going to college, there was a fire death. I'll get going in a sec here, but yeah, this college age individual had a fire in the apartment, and their solution, this person got in the shower and turned the shower on. It didn't work. The smoke doesn't care. I mean, so it just didn't work. And that's kind of the deal is, for kids, you want to go hide under the bed, go hide in the closet. It doesn't work. You smell smoke, the alarm goes off. Well, what's the reason? But I'm headed out the door. Grab your baby brother on the way, or your dog, or call for your dog, or whatever. Don't go back in. All that. It's funny. I'll give you a sec, but yeah, we had one guy in town here. Amazing. I have a million stories. There's not enough time to tell them, but one individual had on their stove. They were heating up oil. I don't know what they were going to make, some popcorn or something. The thing caught fire, and the guy freaked out, and then he grabbed the pot of burning oil, and he ran out through the living room, out in the front porch. He dumped it. We got there. The front porch is on fire. We put that out, and then there's a trail of fire going across this living room. We're there looking around, going, "Are you kidding?" So we put that out, and then we turned the corner, and the cabinets were on fire. It's like, what happened to didn't they learn to put a lid on it and turn the So, I mean, this is something that a 10-year-old kid could grasp very easily, I think. So, that's well within the range of what information. And nothing would ever be too technical. Like I said, it would be geared for that level of kids, period. And it's not a frightening thing. We're not, no fire horror stories, none of that. It's just that fires happen. Here's how you figure out something funky is going on, and then here's what you need to do. So anyhow, there you go. So, well, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike, I want to just point out that oftentimes we hear about problems or issues in the district. And I appreciate your approach of identifying a gap and being part of the solution, because not very often do we hear people willing to be part of the solution. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks very much. We're trying. So thank you very much.
All right, next up, we have BJ Kuntz, Athletic Director, here to talk about our athletic program. And as you heard in the consent agenda, there were a few things that that BJ has given us in advance that she'll be referencing today. So BJ, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And first, thanks for approving the WI resolution. So just an important step that all of our schools are WI member schools and that we follow all those rules and whatnot. And then the second, to approve all of our summer programs. Our coaches have been trying to kind of get all those planned and organized. And so by you guys approving that, it then allows the insurance to cover what our coaches are doing in the summer. So thank you for doing that. So I did make a little PowerPoint to go over with you, just kind of an update of what I've been doing and what I've learned in my first year. I haven't been here quite a full year, but very close. It was this time last year that I went through the interview process. So just a real quick kind of update. So first of all, like, what have I been up to? These have been my core things I've been working on, whether it's with coaches or relationships or whatnot, but trying to ground ourselves in Panther athletics around relationships, communication, and ownership. That's been the first slide of every meeting I've done this year. And that's where we've spent the majority of our my energy trying to work on these things. My first year, I would say the four main things I've been working on have been around facilities, scheduling, equipment, the management, of course, of athletics around, buses, schedules, whatnot, trying to build relationships with our different stakeholders, and the compliance and risk management side of the house. So, and really the job that I've been doing is sort of in 4 buckets. So I thought I would just talk about each of the buckets the work that I've been doing this school year. So the first is just the high school athletics bucket. I think just kind of high school athletics by the numbers We have 27 teams, 27 sports, which comes up to 59 teams. We're averaging about 8 home events a week and 8 away events a week. I have 216 staff that I'm working with very regularly. So that's the head coaches, assistant coaches, volunteers, pool manager, lifeguards, sports med, custodians, event workers, weight room staff, and office staff. So it's a big group of people at Wenatchee High School that I work with, and that doesn't even include the athletes. So we have about 850 students at our high school doing sports, and that's okay. Is that me doing that? Oh, okay, sorry. And then, of course, they come with their 1,500 or so parents. So it's a pretty good crew of people that I get to work with regularly. The next one is, I'll wait for her to get there. It's okay.
BJ, that just quick,
Yes.
why is spring so much bigger than the other two? Is that more sports? Is it
And then it's sports like track where you have
all comers?
50 kids come out.
Got it.
And there are more sports and a lot of sports that are non-cut sports.
Got it.
So I think those are a few of the factors. So thank you. So that's just kind of high school athletics, just by the numbers, and that's mostly people. That's the people numbers. We also have middle school athletics that I oversee through my office, and we have middle school coordinators that support as well. In our middle schools, we have 20 sports, about 90 teams, about 650 contests, 133 coaches, and 900 student athletes in our middle school programs. My third bucket is ASB. So I took on ASB this year. We have about 87 ASB accounts. I'm currently, right now, we're in the budgeting process. So working through 87 separate budgets for all of those activities. At last count, we had done 137 fundraisers, 65 different advisors. So this group of people has a lot of interest in having conversation with me about fundraisers and what can I do and what can't I do. And so that's a really big bucket of things that I've been involved in this year. We also built a ASB guide for all of our advisors because we did have some recommendations, I think, through an audit last year of some adjustments. So we made some adjustments and tried to really work to communicate some changes and stuff with our advisors. And then the last one is facility use. Shauna and I are pretty good buddies on the facility use front. We have worked our way into a new software for facility use, but this is something that it's just big. We have 16 sites, about 200 spaces that people could rent or, reserve, about 101 users, but about 50 are very regular. So of those 50 regular user groups, there's probably at least one weekly email from those 50 regular user groups. But that's really that's part of being a school district in a town, right? Like we have the majority of the athletic facilities that are available in our town. And that's just a fantastic service that we give. It's also it's a lot of work to coordinate all that and make sure that we have custodial coverage and all of those things. So that's what I've been up to. Those are my 4 buckets of work I've been doing. Just a little bit on participation numbers, grades 6 through 12, 45% of our students are participating in athletics. So at the high school, it's about 36%. That's 36% of the kids that sort of make the team and are playing. So there's a small percentage that don't make it. And then in the middle schools, we're at 56%, which is exactly where we should be, if not higher, right? So those are really, really good numbers. And then in the elementary, we have the elementary school track. Most of the schools, those are pretty big programs, and that's a really neat thing that we do. I don't know a lot of communities that do that for the elementary schools. So that's just a little bit about participation. And just to think that, we have 1,600 kids participating in sports is really it's a pretty neat thing. So what have I learned? So I've been here for just about a year. I'll tell you what I've learned. We have a really good operational department. So what I mean by that is I worked daily with transportation. I checked my transportation spreadsheet. I think we did about 550 to 600 sports trips that they had to do this year for us. And it's a daily conversation, right? And now it's not just like what time are we leaving, but where are we dropping? Where are we picking up? There's just a lot of details that go into that. They're fantastic. Our M&O department has to provide a lot of work to keep our facilities up and running, lots and lots of work orders. So when I got here, I've probably been averaging 3 to 5 work orders a week, just to get everything kind of up to par and get things up where they need to be. I work with our HR team a lot. So if you just think about the numbers of coaches that I kind of referenced earlier, that's, 300 or so coaches that we're processing and, getting hired and making sure they're compliant and all of those things. Custodial, I have 2 event custodians that work with me 7 days a week to make sure that all of our facilities are covered and making sure that we have emergency action plans for all of our facilities. So just a kudos to the work that happens, not direct with kids, but the work that makes all of these things happen. This is a pretty phenomenal group of people. I'll also say that I've also learned that we have a community that is ready to collaborate and they want to compete. So they really want to do both things, which is good. We also have coaches that I would say are pretty eager to grow and work together. I've offered, I teach a class called Coaching the Female Athlete. I offered it twice this year and I've had a total of 35 coaches take it in our school district. Not all even coach females, but they were really interested in wanting to learn and grow. So, and they want more. So there's a real eagerness and a real interest in growing. We also had kind of a moment this winter where I brought all the coaches together and we started talking about summer programs. And I walked away from that meeting and I said, we just changed the culture. Everybody was sitting in the table, working together. How do we share kids? How do we collaborate? How do we not compete against one another? So we have a group of coaches that are really, really eager. Our student athletes are also eager, polite, doing a lot of the right things. A really good group of kids. And then I would say our parents are very supportive. We have a good group of parents that come to athletic events. For the most part, they're following what you would want parents to do. Cheer for the home team and don't yell at the officials and try not to get ejected or any of those things. But I would say, like, in general, we have a really good group of parents. They are allowing our coaches to coach. And that's just a really important part of the culture. So I've learned these things. What's next for me as a leader in athletics? I really want to deepen the mission and vision alignment, right? So it's a lot of people that I have to get touches with to get shareness around the mission and vision. So, and part of that is like working with our community groups that run club sports and club programs. And those club programs are much different than education based, but how can we all share and understand one another's mission and vision and sharing that? Investing in our coaches, of course, the most important people in these kids' lives is quite often the coaches that they spend a lot of hours with. So really have to invest in them. So number one, we can keep them, and number two, they create amazing experiences for our kids. And then for our student athlete, we've had a really high focus on attendance and academics this year. It's been a little bit of steep curve for some of the recipients of my focus on that, but it has really, I've just seen it change tremendously just in the last 4 months. We need to evolve our strength, conditioning, and injury prevention. So that's a real focus of mine, exactly how we do that. We have to work on that. And then, of course, the health and wellness of our kids. And I say that as like a collective, their mental health, their ability to compete, their ability to do hard things, just that health and wellness that's just a component of competition that our kids aren't always prepared to do. And then what's next? Relationships and communication, continue to build that. It's just a super important foundation of who I am as a leader and what I want to provide here. And then the last couple, just to create systems to support efficiency and accuracy. I think you could see in my first 4 buckets, the numbers of people I'm trying to kind of work with and the number of things that I'm involved in. We just have to continue to be efficient and accurate. In fact, I was just at a baseball game and I thought to myself right before I left, did I schedule the lights to turn on in the Apple Bowl? So I had to open up my phone. Oh God, we got a soccer game. I forgot to turn on the lights. So I had to turn on, and that's just about like, there's just too much, right? So trying to not make mistakes, trying to be efficient, trying to build trust within our community. It's hard to do. It's a lot to do. So I'm really trying to build systems to make sure that I remember to turn the lights on before a soccer game. Nobody ever knows. I mean, like, you guys are the only ones that know that the lights weren't going to go on. And I would have figured it out in an hour when it got dark, but I try, like, you don't want those things to happen. And for the most part, from the outside looking in, people don't see those mistakes because we figure them out. Like, But, and then the last is just to increase participation opportunities for all. I really feel strongly in sort of this We Are Wenatchee philosophy and concept that every single kid in our school needs to be involved. They need to, that's kind of my last slide, like, what is We Are Wenatchee for me? It's a very intentional, proactive, ambitious effort that every student in our district is involved. And not just involved, but they need to be involved with trained, committed adults, right? It's the adults can make or break an experience. So we gotta blend all of those things together. But this is really, that's what I came here to do, and that's what I hope that we can accomplish in my time. So that's all I have for you today. It's been a great day. I'll just share with you just briefly, like home tennis today. So I left the office about 2:30, went up to the rack for tennis. It was senior night, took a bunch of pictures, popped down to the track meet. We had, I don't know, maybe 350 kids in a track meet, and then home baseball. And tonight's baseball game is our education appreciation night. So every one of our athletes got to invite an educator from their career to go out on the field with them before the game. And one of my favorite parts is one kiddo chose his first grade teacher, another one chose a third grade teacher, and it was just really cool to see that. And soccer right now is doing education appreciation. So when I'm done here, I'm gonna head over to the soccer game and watch our boys soccer team play. But so those are things that we added. We started that this winter, started it in basketball, and then baseball and soccer took it on this. So it's really been fun to watch the teachers come and feel supported and encouraged. And the kids are actually kind of excited to see their teachers show up for a contest. So yeah, it's been a great day today. So any questions I can answer?
I had I was to say the culture change that people I've talked to is like you talked about the culture change with the coaches at the table, and it's not just that. I think also I talked to the people who are running ASP, and they're like, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so hopefully some of the work you're doing now is going to pay off when people can be resources to each other.
Yes.
And, you're building those relationships, right? Obviously it's really hard up front to kind of get your foot in the door, but I think you're doing all the right things. It's a lot of hard work and we really appreciate it, but like, it seems like you're doing the right stuff to have this snowball into you not have to do everything. But thank you for being here and thank you for doing all the work you do.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just echo because I've got kids in all the sports at senior and freshman year, and it's been a fantastic experience as a parent in the program, just between the improved communication. I loved that teacher appreciation night and all the sports because I felt like that meant a lot actually to the teachers and things. So I love seeing those new traditions kind of being brought in. I loved having a conversation with you earlier this spring about your concern that we've got so many kids coming out for soccer. Now I need to find another coach, like the good problems to have versus, oh, we're going to have a lot of cuts. It was like, no, how do I make sure that these additional 50 kids get to play and things like that? And I think that's the right mindset. And it's been a very good experience this year. And I know you had a lot of challenges with the fall with the smoke and everything, but you hit the ground running and I think it's been a really successful season. So I appreciate that.
I want to add from a parent's perspective. So we were at the summer program meeting yesterday. For the basketball part of it, which started at 6. And then one of the things that Coach Drake talked about was now overlapping the summer practices and summer activities with the other sports. So this is my first time with high school activities. He reiterated how, one sport doesn't take priority over the other. They work together. And at 6:30 was Coach Mitchell's presenting to the football parents. But one observation, I appreciate your last slide, your approach of engaging all students, because my experience with middle school sports is that the turnout is great. The diversity of students participating is great. However, yesterday in the room for the basketball part of it, it changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see that students are dropping off, especially our underrepresented students, and I don't know what the factors are, but I would like to see the fact that we're looking for more coaches so that we don't have to cut students, not just in soccer, but maybe the student that doesn't make JV or I don't know, CDT. I don't know what all there is, but just keeping students engaged, because I don't have to tell you about the you know, the impact that sports have on youth. So thank
No,
you.
I appreciate that. And that'd be a great, follow-up at another time around kind of what the multi-layer approach is to keep kids engaged. So you can see that we're a little bit better at the middle school than we are at the high school in terms of our participation. So.
Awesome. BJ, just want to thank you. The three things you've always brought are leadership, high expectations, and vision. And we've seen that clearly in your first year, and just we appreciate it. And we love the vision, we love the approach, and we're excited to hear more. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna head to a soccer.
You need to.
Oh,
Thank
Yeah,
you. We appreciate it.
Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a swag catalog? Because at work we have T-shirt Tuesday. And so I'll be showing up to board meetings in a T-shirt for the rest of the year. However, I was looking for my We Are Wenatchee T-shirt and it was the wrong size. So can you send us a link?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. I've got the link. Yes. Yeah.
Happy to support. And there's always, our booster club always has swag in the office that people can come by and get, just so you know. They always have swag in there. So. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have our amazing counselors here taking on the front row because they're on the front lines every day. So we appreciate you all being here, and please join us at the podium. And we're excited to hear about our comprehensive school counseling program. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Rhonda Brender, for those who don't know me. I am currently up at the high school and I get to serve as the lead counselor for the district. We have a slideshow for you. Oh, there it is. All right. So in the school district, do I have a clicker that works? Oh, right. Perfect. So in the Wenatchee School District, we have 21 school counselors serving our 6,700 students. That's about a ratio of 1 to 320 students, which is a pretty good ratio. We always, of course, want more, but we're getting there. That's not true for every single building. That's just the average across the district. All the school counselors hold a master's degree, and our focus is on academics, career, and social emotional growth for students. Our main work focuses around removing barriers to learning, providing mental health support and making referrals when needed, facilitating career exploration, and trying to provide equitable access to education for our students. This is not work we can do alone, so we work to collaborate with families, with staff, and with our community partners. We have representatives from all the grade bands here today to share a little bit about highlights happening at each grade level. So I'm going to pass it off to our elementary rep, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jessica Guerin, and I get to show up to John Newberry Elementary every day, and it just fills me with joy to be there. And I get to greet kids in the morning, and they are excited to come share their events. I lost my tooth. I got a new dog, all these great joys that they're excited to come share with their people at the school. At the school, we get to do classroom guidance lessons. We get to lay a foundation of conflict resolution through programs like Kelso's Choice. We get to teach Kelso, the green frog, different opportunities to solve those small problems. Also what to do when they have those big problems and who they can go to. We get to teach bully prevention. We use lots of different curriculums for that. We do some abuse prevention, emotion regulation through zones of regulation. And we do suicide prevention at the older grade levels. We also do small group counseling and short-term individual counseling, and then work with families to refer out to community services when that's needed. We facilitate those child study teams, tier 2 teams, assist with behavior. We're often on call in the elementary schools to assist with behavior. And then we coordinate with those 504 plans as well with the families and teachers. So it's a huge role to be able to build relationship and build a foundation with our community to have that positive experience with school and ask families, what kind of a future do you want with your kiddos for mental health, for career, and then how do we build those habits at the young age of TK through 5th grade to be able to do that. So protecting that mental health piece and investment in academics as well. So, yeah. We'll pass it on to middle school.
There you go. My name is Luis Perez. I'm a counselor with Orchard Middle School, and I draw the lucky number to come and share a little bit about our middle school counseling program. So on a day-to-day, basis, it changes for us. But some of the things that we engage in is building a master schedule all students' schedule, work with their schedules, handle any changes, especially at the beginning of the school year. It's like, it's a mess. I don't want music and I got into music, or I want music and I didn't get music. So a little bit of everything. We also coordinate counseling programs. We work with our students in helping them with conflict resolution. A lot of friendship issues sometimes that come up, at this age. So we help with that. We work with students who are experiencing anxiety, depression, and any support that we can provide for them. Substance abuse, family issues, a whole lot of that, that we see on a day-to-day basis. We also are the 504 coordinators. So any 504 that needs to be developed or implemented, we supervise that. And over the last 2 years, we partnered with CBCH, and we have an in-school counselor coming in on a weekly basis. At this moment, at least at Orchard, we have over 25 students that have been referred to that program. We have a waiting list, so it's a very popular service that we are now receiving at Orchard. We also prepare classroom lessons, SEL, suicide prevention, bully prevention, and zone regulations. We also work with the Character Strong, program, and we deliver some of those lessons through them. We also are part of the SST process, the SST team. We develop 504s. We work with the psychology department, and we do IEPs. We provide outside referrals. This year, I think it's been a huge task that the school district has taken on with the attendance initiative. We're working hard getting kids into school and trying to identify barriers that are preventing the students from making it to school. So we're working hard on that. We also work with the CTE and HSVP compliance. We are doing a great job as a middle school program helping transition those kids coming into us. We meet regularly with elementary counselors so that we can help provide a smooth process for those incoming sixth graders, and the same with eighth graders becoming ninth graders. So we meet with the counselor from the high school and the elementary level counselors so that we can provide a smooth process for the students. And I'll share a couple of stories with you guys. My first year as a counselor, I had a request. In our program, we have, we call it a help button, right? Every student on their iPad has an iPad, and it has a button called the help button. This young man was asking me on a regular basis to come in and help him out. One of these situations, he was saying it was an emergency. You gotta, pull me out of class, come and help. As it turns out, his emergency was that he was trying to ask a girl out. An eighth grader, one of the more popular girls, he was trying to ask her out. And so by the time I got to hear his emergency, it was, I don't know that that's, that qualifies as that. And I don't know that I'm the right individual to provide relationship guidance. So that was one of those, moments where I was like, I don't know about this, right? Following year, I get a phone call from a family member coming to, request a little bit of time with us. And as it turns out, this family member was saying, hey, we're here to pick up this individual. We receive a report that, they haven't seen mom in a few days, and, they are running out of resources. And, mom is nowhere to be found. And so this individual was coming to get one of our students to take them home with them because, they needed support. And so that to me is one of the hardest things to, help a student through, that we get to deal with those things. We get to deal with those situations on a daily basis. This year, we had a young man coming in to us from the foster care system. This young man was removed from his family. It sounds like maybe it might have happened at a school setting. This young man was traumatized from that event. And, he was struggling to make it to the classroom. On a daily basis, I was spending time coming with the students, sitting in the back of the classroom, just helping them process that. You know, it's a trauma. And those are some of the things that we do as middle school counselors. We help students where they're at, we meet them where they're at, and we sometimes need to hold their hands and helping them, you know, through that process. And I can tell you that this student right now is now actually going to classes on a regular basis. So those are some of the things that we do. I don't want to take more time. I was very nervous and now I'm kind of getting comfortable and we don't want that. So anyways, thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, we're here.
All right, at the high school level, high school counselors spend a lot of time on career exploration, goal setting, planning out student coursework that aligns with their post-secondary options and plans. A lot of parent meetings focusing on those graduation requirements, especially this time of year, wanting to get every kid across that stage if we can. Both at Wenatchee High School and Westside High School, we offer a mental health screener for all students to participate in. It is optional, but the goal of that is to reach out to our kids and ask where they're at with their mental health and see if there's students that are needing our support that may be flying under the radar. Students who respond to that, if they reach a certain level on that questionnaire, we have a team of support that comes in from both community partners and our school staffing to reach out and meet individually with each of those kids. We reach out to families if needed and make appropriate referrals and follow up. So that's pretty cool. At Wenatchee High School specifically, so this is my first year up at Wenatchee High School. I spent 25 years at Orchard Middle School and finally made a big leap up to the high school, in part because of our new Accelerated Pathways program, and I get to be a part of that, and it's been really exciting. When BJ was up here, it made me think about our Freshman Engage program. So just a few weeks ago, we had the Freshman Engage, which is an opportunity for our current 8th graders, our incoming freshmen, to come with their families in the evening. And we have booths set up for every activity, club, sport, event, resources that we offer at Wenatchee High School. We want those students, as they're making that transition to high school, to see not just what classes do I need to take, but what can I get involved in? We know that students that do more than just attend class have better outcomes, both social, emotional, as well as academic. So we want them to start making those connections. And it was a really cool night. I know I saw Maria there, but just for kids to walk around and see what the opportunities are. And you got a sense of it looking through BJ's slides, that all the things she manages, that is what we have to offer. And so it was really cool to start seeing those kids get excited about, what can I join? What can I be a part of? And what does my future look like? And then, as I mentioned, I get to be a part of the Accelerated Pathways program this year, which this is our first full year of implementation. We're offering kids an opportunity to get a full associate's degree, a 2-year college degree, without ever having to leave the high school. We offer a GER program, which is 1 year worth of college. We actually had a conversation with one of our university partners the other day, who said that when students show up to university, having met their general education requirements in a college and a high school program, their chances of completing their college coursework is much, much higher. Because when they show up to a college, if they don't know what they're doing and they have to take all these random general classes they aren't necessarily bought into, some kids will drop off. So if they've met that in the high school, when there's support and encouragement to do that, their outcomes are looking better. So we're excited about that program. We also have our programs of study, which are aligned with the CTE coursework and different career opportunities. And then this year, we're starting our High Honors program, which is sort of a package of the most rigorous coursework we offer, including our AP in college and the high school. And that's intended for students who really want to put together a competitive transcript to move on to post-secondary options. This year alone, over 220 college classes were registered at the high school for our students at Wenatchee High School. So that is a lot of free college for our kids. So that was a pretty exciting number. And then we're really trying to tailor the program to be individualized. What is that student's goal beyond high school? And how can we create a program that helps get them started on that? Our goal is to have them start their post-secondary work so that when they leave high school, they just keep going rather than having to graduate and then figure out how to start at that point. It's easier to finish things sometimes and harder to start them. So that's kind of our goals with the programs that's going on there. So I'm excited. I'm glad to be a part of the program. And those are just some highlights happening at Wenatchee High School.
you. My name is Heather Rosa, and I get to work at Westside High School. So just some of the highlights of what's going on in the counseling department over at Westside is offering just really that specialized support. This year we started targeted interventions that are really focused in on anxiety and depression, identifying those missing skills, coping skills, how to, recognize kind of what is happening, what is going on, when is it time to ask for some help, and what to do when we're kind of maybe feeling stuck in some of those instances. We've got individual and small groups going on for just executive functioning skills and trauma as well. A lot of these students, or one of the ways that we are identifying students for these groups and this individual work is through those mental health screeners that Rhonda mentioned that at Westside we're doing twice a year to do that. Program management is a big piece of what we're doing at Westside. We are working with across all 7 of our programs. We have 7 programs now at Westside to create these individualized pacing guides on the work for even down to like each class with a student, that individualized focused calendar that we're creating to get to graduation. What does that look like? So we're doing this monthly and quarterly updates. We're reaching out to families. We're having a lot of meetings with parents and caregivers just to kind of loop them into that process and what that looks like, how we're going to get their student across the stage. Our comprehensive, I should have grabbed water. Excuse me. Our comprehensive post-secondary planning, again, so I heard the high school and beyond plan mentioned earlier by Luis, and so we are rolling that out across all of the middle schools and the high schools through School Links this year. That has been big and exciting. We're all learning about that, and that's going to be a really powerful tool that we're really excited about. For health and community, so mental health support and dedicated referrals. We have some amazing community partners here in our valley, and so we're able to just reach out and make those referrals, get our students connected when they need help, or regular counseling. Maybe that's family work, maybe that's a crisis team that's coming out to meet with our students immediately. And that has been an incredible response. Other community resources that we're seeing that we're connecting our students and families with, housing, that's a big one in our valley. That's not a shocker, but that's a great need. And so just trying to get students plugged in, bringing in their parents, helping them through that, know that they have someone at the school that they can talk to when they need that assistance. Food assistance, again, connecting them with community resources. We do operate a small little pantry that we have, we can fill some bags of some necessities, some food, toilet paper, shampoo, all the things, send students home with. Parenting support and legal aid and other critical services. So really just, what's going on? How can we help? And if we can't do it, let's get you connected to someone who can. And that's really the heart of Westside. Thank you. Do you have any questions for the counseling team?
I guess I kept writing things down, and what I realized is that I really appreciate you guys have continuity across all the levels. I know that those transition times, 5th to 6th, 8th to 9th, it can be a scary time, right? And also that you guys are doing the mental health as well as kind of the career transitioning and working with the families and the students, because I think it sounds like the elementary level, you're getting a lot of family support and you're having parents come in to talk to you. And then by the end at high school, you're having the parents come back in after they got their dating advice in middle school. And then their parents come back in like, what's next for your kid? What do you want to see? And I really appreciate you guys working kind of with the whole student and also across all the schools so that our students feel seen and supported. And it's not a new person that's scary. It's like, this is the same thing that so-and-so is doing in elementary school. You're still doing it at middle school. You're still doing it at the high school. So thank you for that. That wasn't a question. That was just a statement.
I don't have a question either. I just want to say thank you. You guys do a lot of behind the scenes work that I'm sure it's a very heavy load based on what Mr. Pettis shared. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I get emotionally attached to my school counselors, right? When Miss Brenda left to the high school, I'm like, oh my gosh, how's Orchard gonna function? Now I'm thinking Mr. Pettis here, who's gonna hand off my kid to the high school. So I can't only imagine how you guys feel as your kids transition to the next school. So thank you.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation. The update on the comprehensive school counseling program is always appreciated. We love hearing from our counselors, and thank you for giving us a balanced presentation. We know that every day is a little bit different. What you plan for is not what you get, and that's what happens when you work with our youth. And we just really appreciate it. From all of the great conversations that you get to have to all of the conversations that reveal something that may not be so happy in that student's life. We just appreciate you being a calm guidance for all of our students. And thank you for the work you do. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, policies, discussion, first read.
Policy discussion, first read. Let's jump on in here. We have one policy that we need to discuss today. This is 6140, duties of administrative staff. This one was updated to clarify the role of the administrative staff to include the management and oversight of building resources, infrastructure, and assets. This one from the policy committee side of things, we played a bit with the wording, but we knew why we wanted to address this particular policy. So once we got the wording kind of figured out, we passed it through here to first read. And yeah, I don't know if we had much other conversation. Maria, anything to add on that one?
No, I just want to just share that this policy, it allows for building administrators to have autonomy while keeping the superintendent and his team engaged in the process as well, but allowing principals to make decisions for what is under their leadership. So just that's really my 2 cents.
Yes, and there was quite literally one sentence that was added in the policy. So it was pretty easy for us to kind of move through.
Cool. Thank you. We'll see it next time, I guess.
Yes.
All right. So action. We have our second read on policies 5401, 5403, and 5404. Do I have a motion to approve these policies?
I would like to move to approve policy 504, 5401, 5403, and 5404. I will second.
All right, has been moved by Maria and seconded by Julie. Any discussion? No. All right. All in favor of approving the policies, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Motion carries. And that takes us to the superintendent report.
All right, here we go. We have had, since we met last time, we have had lots of amazing bond work happening. We had our student design team meet. We had our community design advisory committee meeting. We had a priority meeting for all of those folks that were not selected for the design advisory committee, which went really well on top of that. We had NCW Life interviews with President Jackson and myself, and then also the architects that are involved in our community engagement process. And then at the youth parade, Diana and I and our architect friends were at Valley Academy, garnering feedback and harvesting feedback for the bond and luring people in with popsicles. And it was a great time. We also had an open house on Sunday where we had about 30 or so individuals and about 7 students that were helping us with tours. And then Diane and I both had the opportunity to give a couple tours as well. So it's been a great process and a great way to engage our community. And we have other opportunities as well, but we would really love the community to say at the end of all this, we had the opportunity to participate and give input along the way. So excited about that. Had an amazing day last Thursday. Started out at Sunny Slope Elementary with Science on Wheels, and that's where the Pacific Science Center comes in and takes over your entire school, which was super fun. Then I moved on to mock interviews with our Avid students, and they happened to be sophomores, and so it was a great time. I was acting as a JCPenney manager, hiring a cashier clerk, so it was great. Then after that, I went on to Town and the financial simulation that was happening there at Westside High School. When I popped in, it was about 1:30, and students were just getting their Life Happens card. So they knew who their persona was, they knew their monthly income, they knew all the challenges that they had to go through. And then after all of that, they get a Life Happens card. And that means your car breaks down, you get a new bill from Confluence Health, or you have you got evicted. And so like all of these things. So I was listening, one student in particular just kept saying, I got to go to the bank and get a loan. I got to go to the bank and get a loan. And it was just really cool to see them all experience this deep experience together. So super cool. And then I ended that evening with the Chamber of Commerce annual banquet. So it was quite an amazing Thursday last week. And then opening night for Legally Blonde tomorrow. Liz and I are both going, and we're excited to go see the show. So thank you.
Thank you, Corey. We're gonna do with our board communication. Maria, you want to start?
I don't have anything to add.
That was a quick one. Julie? Okay. I'll go. I'm sure that Caroline and Mark would recommend Legally Blonde as well, since they're in it, and doing dress rehearsal right now. But I know that I was at the Apple Blossom main stage yesterday with watching the Washington Choir, and I know a lot of other schools have participated in that. I think it's such a cool opportunity to have kids get up on a stage, be mic'd, and perform for a group of their parents. But there's a lot of moving pieces that make that happen. That's not just the schools; it's also the Apple Blossom organization that's making that happen. So I appreciate the community effort to make that happen. I was also at Town helping kids pay bills, and it was really funny to have these kids kind of realize that I have this much money and I can't do the thing I want. And I overheard two guys talking, and one guy said, "Man, I got 5 kids, bro. This is so expensive." And I was like, yeah, that's a good lesson to learn at 16. But it was interesting to have the money piece. You could kind of see the lights go on a little bit. This is what this really means something. I did hear another kid say, well, I have a ton of money. I have like $500 left. And we're like, okay, we haven't totally nailed it yet. They're not quite ready. But it was a really cool process to see. It was the most serious I've ever seen Graham Stransberry in my whole life. Like he was moving out, he was logistics. And so he was very, this is what we're doing next. And then I want to thank the directors that came in, and the M&O and transportation and food services and technology. Thank you. Giving us an understanding of their worlds, because I think it's really easy for us to get focused on the students, because that's kind of why we're all here. But there are a lot of moving pieces in this district, and it was really cool to have everyone come in and talk to us. But other than that, I hope everyone enjoys the Grand Parade this weekend, and we have an executive session, so I won't hit that gavel. How long we went? 15?
Is that okay?
We can start and come back.
Okay. Yeah. I think we can do it in 15.
Okay. All right. The school will now recess an executive session for a period of 15 minutes until 7:25 to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review and performance of a staff member. Pursuant to district policy number 1410 and RCW 423110, this discussion will be closed to the public. The school board is not expected to take final action following the executive session. All right.
Ready? All right. Meeting is adjourned.